Welcome to O'Talkin' with Dave. Coming to you from his palatial fortress in Sin City, where what happens in Vegas is talked about everywhere. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're doing well, swell. I'm top shelf myself. I'm inspired today. I'm so inspired. What inspires you? Inspiration, man. It's to be stimulated to do or feel something. Don't you find sometimes you're inspired just out of the blue? You wake up inspired. Can't wait. I don't know. Maybe it's planning. Maybe it's excitement about the task at hand. Maybe it's something you've been waiting on for a while. It's not hard to get inspired by that stuff. Yeah. But sometimes inspiration is fleeting. It's hard to just call on it or depend on it, or you get ready and it's go time. And so when I think of inspiration, I think of different occupations or disciplines, like an artist, a painter, or a sculptor. My Uncle Jim was, he was an unknown sculptor, meaning he knew he could do it, but it was late in life when everybody else found that he had created all these great sculptures with just a chainsaw and some basic tools with some trees and things like that. And, just carved these immaculate sculptures into these trees. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I don't know when he was inspired or when he wasn't, but that inspiration came. Or writers. I can't imagine a screenwriter. You got a blank page, and you have to be inspired. You have to have a vision to be able to go in and write a play that becomes a movie that becomes whatever. That takes a lot of inspiration and sustained inspiration. Entrepreneurs out there, I read about Elon Musk or Richard Branson. The inspiration, it can change from day to day. They stay focused on different things, but they do such a wide range of things, from music to space to cars to whatever. Entrepreneurs, they've got to be inspired. Of course, I go back a lot to musicians. My buddy Mac McAnally's, some of his stuff is just, it gets me through some tough times. His stuff inspires me, but just that level of inspiration is it's incredible. And then I tell you, my wife is a teacher. She spent a lot of time teaching, and you've got to be a driven individual to be a teacher, have the heart of a teacher, and go in every day and take these young skulls full of mush and find new ways, creative ways to not only be inspired, but inspire them. So I think a lot about that with those different professions when I think about inspiration. And two, I think it's important that we're all inspired. I mean, I'm none of those things. I play app music, but that's because somebody else came up with it. I need inspiration for these podcasts, of course, but these podcasts are a result of other people inspiring me, or moments when, I became inspired again. So that's what I want to talk about. Why should we be inspired? Why should we in our everyday life, no matter our occupation or our goals or whatever that is, and also what gets in the way of being inspired? We'll talk to that as well. But I think some reasons why we need to be inspired is because no matter what we're doing, it drives creativity. And why do we need creativity? Maybe you're thinking, David, hey, I do this. I don't really need creativity in my life. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do, for yourself and for others, because if it's the same old thing every day, that's a lack of inspiration. So you need to think of creative ways to challenge yourself or get through some of the things that you do, and even that can drive some of the innovation. Some of the things that are necessary that we really are tired of doing, but they're still necessary. Sometimes we need inspiration to get us through that, or be creative or innovative, to find new ways, to find that enthusiasm that those tasks need. So inspiration is fuel for creativity and innovation. Also, we have things we need to do. We have things we need to do, whether it's go to work and come home and be good to our family, be good to ourselves, or while we're at work. Some of the things that we need to do there, it takes motivation. We have goals. We have career paths. We have different things we need to do. It's important that we achieve those. And sometimes, more than others, they're less inspiring. So we have to inspire ourselves to get through that. I talk all the time about a positive mindset. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So let's be positive. Get rid of that negative mindset. A positive mindset is going to help you accomplish so much more just by thinking you can, or thinking the glass is half full. And I've talked about that, but also that positive mindset, it helps your health, your emotional and your physical health. Sometimes it takes some inspiration to be positive. You can easily find 10 reasons to be negative. Sometimes it takes some inspiration to be positive and drive that overall happiness that is necessary. And it gives you a sense of purpose. If you're thinking positively about what needs to happen and it's your responsibility, that will inspire you to follow through on the things you need to. And which is, it's personal. You can call it personal growth and development. But it's the more the more inspired you are, the more you can call upon when you have tough times being inspired. It pushes you to explore new ways. You go back to the creativity and the innovation, but also it will push you to learn new skills. So you're developing your skill set. You're expanding your knowledge. And so it sounds cliche to say you're growing as a person, but you are. You are. An inspired life keeps you growing to get you to do things you might not do otherwise. I go to the running. Whew. Man, I just, the different things can inspire you. I know the running, it was rough there at first, and then I got better at it, and I got to where I was more confident and wasn't scared of it anymore. And then, it was something I was very proud of. So I was inspired to do something that made me proud of myself, which led to more inspiration. And then I think, another reason to be inspired for others, for other people. People are watching you. They are watching you. And when they see you have a consistent positive mindset, stretching yourself, an old dog looking for new tricks, all of that stuff, it is inspiring to other people. And your enthusiasm will drive enthusiasm in other people. And it just creates a positive atmosphere, a can-do attitude. And people need that. Those people that are going through a tough day, they are uninspired. They're having a tough time. Maybe they haven't been through as much as you have. And when they witness you maintaining or increasing your inspiration, that's fantastic. So you're helping other people. But one reason I'm doing this particular topic is because I've had some feedback that, Dave, sometimes I just don't feel like it. I just don't have it. I don't have it in me today. Or, I started a project and I believed in it. I still believe in it, but I don't have that fire that I once had. Oh man, been there. We'll be there again. So for those people who are struggling or have periods of time when they struggle, some more than others, you need to have some sources for inspiration to call upon. I have tons of friends who have writer's block, musically or in other ways, or they're in a job that they don't plan to leave, but it's just going through the motions right now. That type of stuff. They have some They have a lot of things that they want to do, but they're not in a position to where they can do them on a personal side. And so how do they keep that spark? How do they keep that drive while they're in this lull? So that's why having sources for inspiration is important to maintain. Not fake it till you make it, although we have to sometimes, but actually light that fuse again. Get that fire going as far as inspiration goes. So I have a few thoughts about this. One thing more than others is just make a list. You know where they are, but sometimes you need to make a list. So one of the first things on my list, and you can call it, we can just call it outdoors, nature. Get out. I remember my Papa used to say when he was stressed or whatever, he would get his hands in the dirt, put his hands in the soil, which meant his farm. He loved his farm. That was so much to him. But, just getting outside, taking a walk. Many times when I lived close to the beach, I would do it for exercise, but then I realized I'm not doing it for the exercise because I really didn't walk that far. I think it was like a mile or two in town, and more than half of that was on or beside a beach. And by the time I got back, I was not stressed anymore. It was just, and even take it back further than that. I remember as a teenager when I used to mow lawns or cut grass in the southern vernacular. You get to do it, and it's a very simple activity. It's mundane. It's back and forth. It's around in circles, but you have time to think, to sort it out. I know traveling in the car. Yeah, okay, Dave, that's not nature. Well, it is when you're driving through the desert. That's beautiful. You look around, it's fantastic. But what it is, it's some sort of tranquility. It's just you and your thoughts. Or you may notice things. I used to walk. I walk a lot. You notice I don't run anymore. I walk. But there were certain places where I would walk to, and I would just sit and think. Or sit and not think. I sit and not think quite a bit, but things will come to you. Clarity will come to you. Just observing something that you have nothing to do with or no part in, and whether it's the landscape or wildlife around you, the waves crashing, and I wasn't by the beach for that long, so I can think about just walking in a neighborhood, clearing your mind and just letting it be an open receptacle, and then as things pop in your head, that can create clarity. What comes to mind is, a change of scenery. There is someone needs to, you can look it up. I don't know which one. I'm sorry, I don't have the link. But Mark Cohn, who wrote Walking in Memphis, that's his claim to fame, he tells a story live about how he had writer's block. In that song, Walking in Memphis, if you know it, if you don't know it, it's fantastic. It really documents a trip he took to Memphis. And it wrote itself. But that generated such creativity in him and inspired him so much, going from not being able to play or put words on paper to that, just by changing his scenery. But nature is so inspiring anyway. When I was younger, going to the farm, going to Papa's farm, I can remember in the summer just by the creek or wherever, just laying back and just looking up at the sky, or just being quiet and listening to the sounds around you. It's such a huge source of inspiration. I don't read fiction, and people that read fiction, I wish I enjoyed it more. But I love books or art or something like that. Most of the books I read are biographies. I've got a lot of books with quotes or human interest stories, stuff like that. On TV, I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of other meaningless stuff, but the documentaries, because those people going through things and their stories, they inspire me. They really do. A lot of the biographies, people just going through how they approach challenges, how they overcame those things. and just some of the advice they give. That's inspiring to me. It makes me, it's to me. I call it the key to the test. The answers to what I need. First of all, I believe we're all equipped with everything we need.
Hey there! Are you having computer problems and can't get the help you need? Is there a language barrier or other obstacles that make you feel insignificant and unappreciated? We know just how you feel, and we are here to help. We are the Amish Tech Team. The Amish Tech Team is known for their work ethic, quality craftsmanship, and attention to detail. The Amish Tech Team will ride to your house, assess the situation, and leave you feeling good about the experience. Oh, Jedediah was just a lovely young man. He didn't fix my computer, but he built me a new desk, repaired my roof, and planted 2 rows of corn in the backyard. All of our technicians at the Amish Tech Team are English-speaking, respect traditions, and know their way around a grist mill. Send a letter by mail or carrier pigeon today, and when we get it, we will hop in the first buggy available and head out to your place. And the first 10 requests will get a complimentary jar of sorghum or an Amish Tech Team horseshoe to use as a paperweight. It's a real horseshoe. You don't have to put up with services that put you on hold or talk funny. Contact the Amish Tech Team and we'll be right out as soon as we get your message. And get free of our chores and load up the buggy and travel to your place, depending on traffic and the weather and those dad-blame motorized vehicles and all those bright lights and shiny signs that keep distracting the horse and tempting the youngins.
It's just a matter of recall and application. But a lot of that we're equipped with, it's from the stories or the things that we've read. Also, the personal experiences. On our life experiences, I will always say we're equipped with what we need. Just a matter of recall and application. But if we think back, and I can even think when I was in my 20s, just beginning to really get after it. A lot of the things that happened to me as a child or in my teens, that prepared me. So personal recall, not only of instances, but of people that I had met. That is probably one of the biggest sources of inspiration I've had. The people that have been put in my life. You can look at historical figures and, the people I read about, but I think my personal experiences and people I've met, watching people work through situations. I've mentioned in an earlier podcast just around how I've always found myself around older people. Even as a child, I had no fear of hanging. I didn't think old people were uncool. I was a sponge. Well, that has served me well as a huge source of inspiration for me as I've, gone through some trials and tribulations or some lulls in my inspiration. And then a lot of people get, just traveling. Now, I hear stories of people that have traveled over to, all over the world, really. Which is exciting. And I look at the listeners of this podcast. I would love to come to some of your countries. I haven't yet. I'm a United States, Caribbean, Mexico, some Central America, Hawaii's, that's America. But I have extensive travel. I can imagine how inspiring that would be. To go on safari in Africa. I'd love to do a pub crawl with my son in Dublin. I'd love that. But see, just the limited amount that I've traveled, it's a huge source of inspiration. So I think all those are great sources. And I'll hit them again. I mean, nature, change of scenery, art, literature, some people put on classical music. I consider that art. Just to either clear your mind or spark inspiration, personal experiences, whether it's on your own or with other people, and then travel. I think those are all great sources. If you can think of some more, email me. Let me know some more. I think those categories are pretty broad, so there's a lot that can fit in there. So fantastic. And two, you can, I found you can find inspiration from the tiniest little thing and the most unexpected things. I mean, as an adult, you can spend a little time with a toddler or someone that's a kid that's probably 7, 8 years old, I guess, who pure honesty. they they don't spare anybody's feelings, and they don't hold back their enthusiasm. That's inspiring. That is inspiring. So I think it's important to have those sources of inspiration. I know it's important. I don't think it. I know it. But also, there's some things that are the enemy of inspiration. Absolute enemy. And I think these things cause a lack of inspiration. And you've heard some of these before. You're going to hear them again. Because most of the time, the positive things about life are positive across the scale. The negative things are the same thing. They're gonna affect you negatively in many ways. And these, your inspiration, it's gonna suck the life out of it. The first one is just stress. Stress. High levels of stress take away your creativity, take away your energy. It makes it difficult to be inspired because it just makes it difficult to focus. You know, you get too stressed for too long, you're burnt out. You just don't have the energy, man. I'm overwhelmed with all this stuff. I'm exhausted. Okay. Let's be inspired for a minute, please. Come on. And I've covered ways to deal with stress. Worry's one of the worst things. Worry more than stress. So that will rob you of your inspiration. And so I could tell you some quick ways, but I'm not going to, because that's a podcast all on its own, and I've done it several times in several ways, and we'll do it again, because I believe stress and worry, they can get you, man. Stress, I feel the need to say this, though. The right kind of stress can drive you. So I don't mean to talk out of both sides of my mouth there, but you know what? I got to get this done. I got to do this. Sometimes quality goes down with too much stress. But you can see how stress, it can rob you of your inspiration. A negative environment, negative people, a negative environment, negative situation. A negative, environment can be everything from the people around you. Maybe it's too noisy. Maybe it's the environment. Maybe it's your location of, you're in the city, or you need to be in the country, or need some peace and quiet. Like Mark Cohn, what I said earlier, he needed some inspiration around music. He went to Memphis blues, and what a song. A lot of people just need to separate themselves. But it's not just location. It's if you're collaborating or doing something, or you're in a situation that is just negative or toxic, it will stifle it. It's everything from, the in your face stuff, like, a lack of support. That, even though it's not negative support, it's a lack of support. It's neutral. That can be seen as very negative, all the way to people either criticizing, I don't know why you're spending time with this. I don't know why. You could spend, you could do so much more with something else. Well, that's not my dream. That's not where I need to be inspired. And so stop it. If nothing else, it dampens your enthusiasm. You may still be ready to go for it, but eventually it's going to pull you away, and it's going to hinder the degree of inspiration that you have. So got to get rid of negative environments and negative people. Get rid of them. Another thing, if you're thinking about it and you're struggling with accomplishing some of your goals or tasks, that fear of failure creeps in. It's just not good enough. I'm not on track to where I wanted to be. And what if I don't? What if I don't make it? What if it's not as good as I want it to be? Then all that negative environment just feeds that. So fear of failure, that'll rob you of your joy. And it cuts back on your willingness to be creative or innovative. I don't want to take a chance. What if I fail? You don't need any of that. You're not only going to succeed, you're going to succeed wildly in ways nobody thought of it, because I've got my creativity. I'm innovative. I got rid of these toxic people. No, failure, not even an option. But if it creeps in, it'll rob you of your inspiration. It's horrible. Another thing that people get, because a lot of creative people especially, or really driven people, one thing that can rob them of their inspiration is just the same old routine. Same thing, same place, same people, same hours. Not that you can't be inspired while doing that. That can eventually get you to, not dread it, but not be as enthusiastic about it. I spent a while working in an office, and as offices go, it was pretty nice. A lot of windows. It was cool, but it was the same thing every day, and eventually you had it mastered. It wasn't challenging. You're just biding your time. That routine, the monotony, it just sucked the life out of your aspirations and inspiration. So you change it up, change your atmosphere, if you can do it in more places as one, that's great. If you're more bound to a certain area, change up your surroundings, change up the timing a little bit, add music, take away music, add something peppy long stockings, do something so it's not so routine or monotonous. And then I guess the last thing, as far as what I'm going to say here, as far as what will rob you of your inspiration, is, not only distractions, because, sometimes you need to be away from distractions so you can focus, because that will take away from it. But you need to dedicate the time. Whatever you're working on, whatever you need to be inspired for, dedicate that time. It doesn't need to be something that you plan to do, or because you're going to procrastinate. And if you're procrastinating, that is a drainer of inspiration. So focus on what you need. And this could be away from work. It could be at work. It can be a hobby. Whatever, wherever you need inspiration. But distractions and procrastination, that's not good. So, if you're writing music, if you're writing anything with the arts, I know on a lot of the passions that I have, once you get focused and you get away the distractions, all the negatives, and you really focused on it, time melts. It just melts away, and you find yourself doing it for hours. And if someone interrupts or comes in and says, "Are you okay?" My wife's done that. "Are you all right in here?" "Yeah, well, you know what time it is?" I have no clue. But sometimes inspiration leads that way. And it's a fantastic thing. I think of music especially. Even way back with my brother-in-law, Robert, we would go, he had a little 4-track recorder, and we would get in there and just mess with it. We weren't writing music. We were just messing with it. And time just goes away. I still lived at home. Mom's calling, supper time. You don't miss supper. You do not miss supper in the O'Connor household. They will break your plate. But that's the thing about when you're inspired and passionate about something. You don't worry about the clock. You don't worry about all these other things that pull your time. You're not, just to go back to the list, you're not stressed out. You're not burnt out. You're in it. You're passionate. It's not a negative environment. Failure, it doesn't even come to you. You are focused on what you're doing and passionate about it. Whether it's something hobby-wise or if it's a big presentation coming up at work or a speech where you can just see the feedback, the positive feedback from the crowd. So there's no fear of failure. Monotony and routine, what are you kidding me? Let's focus on this, and it's not monotonous. There's no routine here. I love this. And the more you do that, you're not going to procrastinate. Finding the time is sometimes hard, but once you do, It's wonderful. So those, you can get past those things that rob you of your inspiration, but be aware of them so they don't creep in. Because once they creep in, okay, you need to address them. And then a lot of times when they creep in, there's, people can be inspired and focused on something, and, a new relationship, whatever that's, you're so uplifted by right now. Then something negative hits. That had to hit. It could be something happens, or people, try to ruin your momentum or make you uninspired, or just circumstances. It happens. Recoiling and staying inspired, or being re-inspired after that, that's so important, because obstacles are gonna come your way. You're gonna get punched in the face right when you're just happy as can be and everything's going well. How do you come back from that and keep that inspiration? Well, there's several ways that I've learned the hard way over the years. One is reframing the situation. All right, come on, let's look at this. How am I looking at this? So what can I learn from this? And no matter what the situation is, it could be, losing the battle, not the war, the battle. Okay, what did I learn from this? Why did this happen? And, I believe everything else happens for a reason. When it happens, okay, what's going on here? What can I learn from this? How can I improve from going forward? And reframe it in a positive way rather than just, why me? I know a lot of you are why me people. That's okay. Well, I don't know what percentage of the population are that way, but it's vast. Maybe even the majority to be bent toward the negative. But I talk in a previous podcast about making a decision. Okay? If you find out you made the wrong decision, now you've got another decision to make. And that one's easier because you've already made the wrong decision.
Have you recently started a new job and feeling a little overwhelmed with all the new challenges and requests from your coworkers? We know just how you feel, and we are here to help. Call Greenhorn Supply. We have everything you're being asked to deliver. Blinker fluid, polka dot paint, metric hammers. Don't look dumb just because you're new. Let us help you out. We've got left-handed screwdrivers, hammer grease, and if you need a bucket of steam, we just got in a truckload. And if you call in the next 3 minutes, we'll give you our free instruction manual covering how to milk a bull and how to get to the second floor or the basement of a one-story building. Call 1-800-486-3862. That's 1-800-I-AM-DUMB. Or visit our website at greenhornsupply.no.edu. Plug in your social security number and credit card info and we'll deliver your order same day. Or just send us cash to 1449 Gullible Lane, BFE, OU 812, and we'll deliver your order same day. Don't look stupid just because you're new. Call Greenhorn Supply.
So this is kind of the same way. When something happens and gets in your way, okay, what did I learn from it? Now, where do I go from here? So reframe it not as all is lost, but all right, let's adjust. And it makes you more resilient. It really does. And that way when it happens again, it's not so bad. It's a speed bump. It's a speed bump. You didn't fall in a ravine. Okay? So another thing you can do when something with a negative experience happens is use that for inspiration. I know. Well, Dave, we're already talking about it's tough to stay inspired. Now you're saying we do this and we use the negative as a positive to inspire me. Let me tell you something. I remember a time, many times in my life, where I had done things or things had happened that had set me back financially. I mean, I've been in situations, let me tell you. And I remember saying, never again. I will never let this happen again. And it inspired me. I go back to that time. When you hit bottom or close to bottom or that setback, I use that as an inspiration and determination to never again. And I remember those times. I would tell you, but it's vastly personal. But it's those times where you're just, you know what, you can give up or you can just be more determined. And that's how that negative can hit you. You know, reframing is, let's look for the lesson in this. Well, this one is more of, by God, not again. I will not let this happen again. And then you move on instead of be defeated. So let's go on before I get fired up. The another thing is, you know, I've always said surround yourself with positive people. Have a good, tight inner circle. So when stuff happens and you get punched in the face, talk to somebody. Share it. Don't take it all on yourself. Share it with somebody. They're going to tell you when it happened to them as well. And you've got your own journey, but sometimes you can't get inspired by your journey. Sometimes you can't pull yourself out of the hole you dug, and you need someone else. And sharing your story with someone you trust, they're going to be there for you. They're going to support you. They may not have the words for you, but they're going to let you get it out. But chances are they've been in a similar situation. And you're going to find inspiration and strength with their help. And by the way, they want you to. And they want to help you. So that's a great place when you get a setback. Have your trusted people. Another reason to get rid of your negative people, because they're going to cheer. Oh, yeah, man, that sucks, doesn't it? Oh, man, I remember that happened to me. That was the beginning of the end. Yeah, I know. Man, you're screwed. That's not what you want. There's plenty out there that will do it. And then there are those who are cheering for it. They don't want you to be inspired. In some ways, it makes them feel like less of a person. But I'm not going to be negative. Also, a way to, when you get punched in the face, or you're not inspired, or you're doing great and think something slowed you down, the whole thing of gratitude, you know, we've talked about that. Okay, that didn't go as planned, but I'm still inspired because look at everything else that's going well. Now this is, I really believe it's not only it's an attitude, but I think it's a skill. It's almost a trait, if you know what I mean, to be able to, even when everything's going well. I mean, everything seems to be slowing down and you're uninspired. You can look around and things are going well. I wouldn't trade my problems with anyone. Even when I was at the bottom several times, I wouldn't trade my problems with anyone. So to be able to focus on, hey, there's so much positive going on. And sometimes we are slowed down a little, we'll call it that way, just to make us appreciate what we do have. You know, sometimes something needs to get your attention to make you grateful for what you do have. You may be going along and this inspiration's going along and you're passionate about something and things are going well and you get out of balance. This is more important than other things that are maybe more important. Sometimes negative things happen for a reason to get your attention. Okay? You got my attention. You're right. I do have a lot to be grateful for. This little setback. Okay, I got you. Regain your inspiration, but maintain the balance of how things need to be. I think it's very important, and I think it's necessary. And then, you know, it's almost like what I said earlier, you know, be able to turn any adversity, turn it around, turn it into a response and action. So I said earlier, when something happens that's negative, some adversity happens, and I said, never again. I'll not let this happen again. I'll never let someone else do this to me again, or whatever that is. Okay, that's great. That's a great attitude. It fires you up. It spurs you on. Okay, but what's that action? What are you going to do? How are you going to channel that negative experience into positive actions? Just to shake your fist and say never again? Well, that's just shaking your fist and saying never again. And you may be determined. But what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to prevent that from happening again? How are you going to keep those negative people away from you so they can't make you feel bad about yourself or about something? And by the way, they can't make you feel bad without your permission. But still, what are you going to do? What are you going to do to turn that negative punch into something positive? Because you can. You can, you have, and you will. And I'll tell you, the people around you, the good people, that strong circle, and, it's like dropping a rock into a pool. You have all these circles. Your inner circle knows this about you. As the circles go out, they're watching you. Trust me, they're watching you. And I think succeeding is less inspirational to those around you than inspiration, passion, setback, overcoming, and succeeding. I mean, we see so many times people that are successful. Oh yeah, they're successful. Oh, look at that. It's fantastic. Look at them. Wow. Role model. I want to be like them. But when you dig in, there's very few overnight successes. I mean, there's a lot. You name a profession, from the arts to business to whatever. There's a lot of 10, 15, 20 years worth of work that went into that overnight success. And so knowing that they've gone through that, it endears them, but it's quite a lesson. And understand when you're going through this lack of inspiration. And a lack of inspiration can be shallow, or it can be drastic, like I've talked about here at the end. But just that, just knowing others have gotten through it, and it's almost necessary. The harder the fight, the greater the victory. Everybody sees that I'm a big college football fan, and people love a blowout. If it's your team, if it's my team, I want to win by 100 points. You love that, but you appreciate the struggle and the fight and the double overtime, and you get through. What a battle. That win is so much more satisfying, and it prepares you for the next battle, and you're able to take it on. I know many times, watching Wimbledon's going on now, so watching tennis or, any sport where when it gets to the finals and right to the end, and they talk about, one of the things they talk about somebody is they've been here before, or the stats around, wins and tiebreakers or wins in overtime. Pressure in baseball, they've got stats around, power hitting and, hits with men on base or comeback, all these different things. And you appreciate that more when it was a struggle. So in inspiration and maintaining an inspired lifestyle, understand there are setbacks, but that's going to make the end product so much better. And it's going to make those around you so much more inspired. And never underestimate the degree to which you inspire other people. Somebody's watching. A lot of people are watching, and you inspire them. So just to recap a few thoughts, and it's not really recapping, it's just talking, to summarize. Identify your sources of inspiration. People, places, things, past memories, all of these things. Identify them. Know where they are, because you're going to need to call upon them. You are. And then recognize new sources of inspiration. I moved to Vegas a year ago, and I spent a lot of time in conference rooms and hotels and things like that speaking before. All around me, just the sunsets out here are unbelievable. They're incredible. And just some of the surroundings. Also, I'm around some different groups of people recently, and getting their take on things. It's like, wow, I never thought about it that way. Be curious, talk to people. You're going to find new sources of inspiration, which are very important. Papa and Mama, they're strong sources of inspiration. but they're gone. They still inspire me. So it's important to look for new sources of inspiration. A podcast, read a book, take a minute, slow down, smell the roses. You'll see things. It's right in front of you. New sources of inspiration. Also, acknowledge those who are inspired by you. Now, this is not an egotistical thing, but those people that you find enjoy your company, don't feel the added pressure to be at a certain level, but also be yourself. That's the best thing about it. The people that try to be somebody else so that they portray an image that they want to portray, you can't fake it for long. You can fake it for a while. There's a lot of people who've made a good living faking it for a while. But these people know you. It's not your persona. So acknowledge the people who are inspired by you. And I'll tell you something. You know to get rid of the negative people, but surround yourself with sources that are keeping your fires burning. You know, to challenge you to try something new, to challenge you if you say something, and not yes people, but somebody that will question you, not in a negative way necessarily, but you know, that makes you more secure in your beliefs, or maybe you didn't think of it that way. So surround yourself with people that support you and that keep your inspirational fires going and challenge you and make you better, because what you're doing is you're making them better as well. So inspiration is a wonderful thing. Inspiration is a stimulant to do something or be something or act a certain way. And we all go through tough times. Absolutely. You know, the shallow ones are easier to get through. It's like your momentum will take you right through that. But when things really slow you down, to kickstart that, I hope you can think about some of the things that we reviewed today. And, you know, when you hit that, just realize it's a speed bump. What can I learn from it? And, man, look out. When the next one comes along, I'm going to clear it in the air. So let me know what you think. I appreciate your support more than you know. Send me some feedback. David@otalks.com or OWD@otalks.com. I listen to it, I respond, but also it inspires me to hear what you want to hear. So let me know, but most of all, thanks for talking with Dave, and giddy up.